Durant blows by Primo. Attack.
Jokic in the power. Here it goes. Got it. Denver has won.
But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. But this is the hard way to do it, and we did it.
We welcome you in to the Small Ball Podcast alongside the wonderful Trevor Mickulin and the great Christian Dennis. I'm Scott Ayers. We're saying hello once again. It is the start of the NBA season, and fellas, we have been waiting for this.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-da-na, do-do-do-do-do.
Wow. Basketball is back, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm excited. New season upon us. So many possibilities.
Shout out to us for starting this podcast at the end of basketball season. That was really smart of us.
Yeah.
That was probably the boldest thing that we could have done. If you've been watching some of our videos, we cover just about every small to mid-market team in the offseason. If we didn't cover one of those teams, we did have some technical difficulties with a couple teams.
Sorry, Hornets.
We did cover the Pelicans, but
We did it twice.
We did it twice, one of which no audio. But we're here. It's the start of the NBA season. Trev, you said so many different possibilities, opportunities, and it really does feel like this season, compared to a lot of others in the past, has a lot of different possibilities of where teams could go, who we will see on top. And guys, give me your initial thoughts. I mean, how do we feel? Tomorrow, it's really big market teams. The real season starts on Wednesday, where all the small to mid-market teams finally take the court.
Yeah, I think it's such a crazy season because usually coming into the year, it's like you have your teams that are like definitely these top teams in the West, definitely these top teams in the East. And this year, I mean, you can look at the East and say that, but when you look at the West, it's kind of a dogfight. There's so many teams that I could see at the top, and a lot of them are small market teams. So it's going to be a fun year. And like you said, the season starts on Wednesday. A lot of small market teams will be playing. It's exciting.
The NBA season's so unpredictable. I mean, you look at what happened last year with Cleveland expected to be one of the worst teams in the entire NBA. And at one point they were top of the East, kind of in that top three there, and they made it to the playoffs. So that's really exciting to see who's going to be that next team. Like, did we expect the Memphis Grizzlies to jump all the way to the second seed last year? I don't think so. So I'm really excited to see who's that next team to jump. Hopefully it's a hometown team. Hello, Sacramento.
Hello, Sacramento. And the Sacramento Kings start out playing Portland. And these guys weren't expecting me to do this, but Christian Dennis, Gabe Mueller, shout out Gabe Mueller and I. Have you guys ever heard of the Island Boys?
Yeah, we them Island Boys.
Yeah, they went viral probably before the summer, but there's this great app called Cameo. And what you can do is you can pay people to say whatever you want.
Whatever.
And so
whenever.
So Christian, Gabe, and I were just going through Cameo, and we came upon the Island Boys. And we wanted them to do a little video celebrating a Kings win, and we're excited to post this on Wednesday after the Kings beat the Blazers. This cost us $179 for them to do this.
Yeah.
The Kings won, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabanas is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
They on the playoff bound, yeah.
Coach Mike is so smart, yeah.
Sabonas.
No, he pronounces Sabanas.
I cannot wait until I see that first Kings dub.
Yeah.
And just going straight to both the Kings Twitter page, but then whoever they beat that night, just so that video can pull up, because it's all-time material.
It's all time. It's going to go viral. Do you think that they came up with the lyrics themselves?
No, you had to have made those lyrics, huh?
Yeah, I made them.
Yeah.
You just know their content so well. That sounded exactly like something they would say.
Well, I was like, I was kind of going through their previous cameos, and they're all the same. These guys get paid $180. They must hate it. Like, They do the same song, same melody. It's like, happy birthday, Christian. Happy birthday, Christian. Happy birthday, yeah. And then I was like, all right, let's run with that melody. Let's make it Kings flavor, you know?
It's
So,
perfect. Well, and they have one with the Padres too,
Yeah.
where
That was the inspiration.
Yeah, that's a great
How
inspiration.
does the Padres one go?
Oh yeah, the Padres. Oh no, Padres won. If you've seen this song,
Padres.
they call them the Padres. I think it's part of like in their cameo contract to mispronounce some name or the other.
It had to be.
Because it adds a little flair.
They've never heard of Sabonis or Sabanis, and they've never heard of him. So, yeah.
The great big man Sabanis.
They probably don't even know where Sacramento is.
No.
No. Oh gosh, no. But
They're the
it-
Island Boys.
Yeah. They add some flair, they add some life, and the NBA season is going to have a little bit of flair. And to kind of kick things off, we wanted to get it on the record, some different award categories for who we think will win each award. And guys, I know you've been thinking about this a lot. Let's start with Rookie of the Year. One that we might see more of a consensus. Trev, I'll start with you. Who do you see being the Rookie of the Year this
Well,
year?
this is a Kings-heavy podcast to start out with. We didn't mean for it to be like this. This is our prediction show. So let's go back, use these, save these receipts, and let's see if we're right at the end of the season. Keegan Murray, that's my Rookie of the Year. There's no reason for me not to pick him, even as I can try and be unbiased here. Like, I can look at what he did in college. He was like one of the best scorers in college, and then coming in right away and making an impact offensively. That's what wins Rookie of the Years. I really do think he's the favorite.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. It kind of, in a similar situation, I see it like Scotty Barnes' situation with Toronto, where they're not expecting him to be the guy. And so when a rookie can come in and just kind of play his role and play in the flow of the offense, that's key to great success for a rookie year. And with the Kings having a better offseason and development under a new coach that's actually legit, I think that Keegan has the potential to be Rookie of the Year. To be different, I'm going to go with Paolo Banchero. I just loved what I saw in Summer League, and I think Orlando has some really awesome young core pieces, and I think he'll kind of be in that like number 1, number 2 spot for the Orlando Magic's offense, and they're going to try to run a lot through him. So I'm going Paolo.
And they're kind of pushing everyone to the side and saying, Paolo, this is your team. So that's a good pick.
Yeah, I'm probably going to lean on Paolo as well. I love the Keegan pick, though. If you're a Kings fan, and you have a guy who now has this much hype, why wouldn't you ride with him? I think that's a great pick. I do like Paolo, though. I could see him even being over 20 points per game this year. And he's going to have an immediate impact. Both Keegan and Paolo will. And that's what I think will be exciting is they're two rookies that they have to be a 1A, 1B right now.
What do you guys think about Jaden Ivey? Because he's got to be in the conversation. Do you think he's going to have the impact that these other two guys are going to have?
I don't think so.
Be careful, Detroit fans. They are ruthless.
I don't think Jaden Ivey will be necessarily a legit contender in that conversation. I feel like he's gonna need some time to adapt to the NBA game. He's a little reckless right now. If you look at his preseason, I know it's preseason, but if you look over his stats, he's had some games where he's had a ton of turnovers. So I feel like once he learns how to control his speed, he's going to be really good.
Do you have anything on
Yeah,
that?
no, I think efficiency is going to be the biggest thing for him. And I don't know if his efficiency is going to be there in year one, especially as a shooting guard. He's going to get his shots, but I think he's going to be more of one of those guys, most improved player of the year in year 2 or 3, where he takes a really big step. But I don't see him as a rookie of the year.
I have a sleeper pick though.
Wait, let me talk on Jaden Ivey real quick. I think he should be. He definitely needs to be in this conversation, and he is going to be a serious contender. He's going to be that guy that's going to have the crazy highlights and just yam on people. He almost did it in Summer League a couple times. He's going to cross dudes up, and his stat line's going to look really good, and NBA beat writers are going to like it. Those are the people that vote. So I liked it. He's definitely going to be considered, in my opinion.
One sleeper pick that I got is Jalen Williams from the OKC Thunder.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be awesome in the Thunder system, and he's going to be someone who kind of guides that second unit. and potentially even maybe he sneaks into the starting lineup at some point with injuries to like SGA or Dort if they were to happen. But he just seems like he's NBA ready, just solid guy. I've always been a fan of him, so I got to rock with Jalen Williams.
If we're talking sleepers right now, Tari Eason. I just want to put it on the record. Sorry, but it's going to be Tari.
Wow.
Eason. I think
nice.
Tari could be up there. He was my sleeper pick for the draft, and he's been showing out. But he'll have the opportunity in Houston, and who knows what could happen. He's played well so far.
Yeah, so far. And to really quick on Jaden Ivey, he's going to be a contender. I meant more so I like Paolo and Keegan more. I'm not fully convinced on what his efficiency, kind of like a Jalen Green year one, where just not super efficient, but highlight player, and we'll have some. Yeah, Twitter will just go crazy on certain nights that Jaden Ivey just decides to drop like a 30 bomb or something like that.
He's gonna do that a couple times.
Yeah.
He's gonna be really
he's a
gonna be
hooper.
really good.
He's a hooper.
He is a hooper.
How do you like that, Trev?
He is a hooper. He is.
All right, next up, Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you guys see? Christian, we'll start with you.
For Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think he's just going to have a monster year, especially since Chris Middleton's going to start. I think he's out for like 3 or 4 weeks. So kind of start of the season, he's going to assert his dominance and just be blocking people's shots left and right.
Give me Mr. Scotty Barnes.
Wow.
What? Scotty Barnes in year 2, he's going to dial in on the defensive end. He's so long. He's got the Giannis build, and Toronto is a really, really solid team. And I think he's going to, you just pushed up your glasses with the microphone.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times this episode.
Just caught that. That's nice. I think Scotty Barnes is that guy, and he's proven it on the offensive end, and even defensively he's been all right. But I think his lateral quickness is going to improve, and he's so athletic. I think he's going to be considered. Yeah, that's my pick.
And I want the record to be clear. Trevor is the biggest Scotty Barnes guy I know. And that's not me taking a dig. That's more so like, if Scotty Barnes is a top 5 player in the NBA at some point, there needs to be recordings of like, hey, Trev stood by this guy all along.
Save the receipts.
Save the receipts.
I got the screen recordings already.
Yeah, that you've always ridden with him. Well, let me say this. He's won it before. And he's going to win it again, just on a new digs. Rudy Gobert.
Wee.
Rudy. I like Rudy Gobert winning Defensive Player of the Year. New system. I think with Cat as well, Anthony Edwards, he is going to feast as a defensive presence. It's a safe pick, but in my eyes, yeah, go ahead, Trev.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to say, I think that's a really good pick because it's kind of the Draymond effect where Draymond Green, his role is literally just play defense.
Right.
Because he's got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on his team. There's nothing that dude needs to do. And for Rudy Gobert, he was kind of having to hold a little bit of that offensive load in Utah. And now with, like you mentioned, Ant and Cat and D'Lo, it's like, Rudy, we don't even want you really shooting. Like, just play defense. That is your role. You're not going to be out guarding guys. Like, you're in the paint getting blocks. And I think that could bode well for his defensive player of the year possibilities.
Yeah, no, definitely. And with D'Lo and Cat on your defense, they're not the
awesome.
greatest. So there's going to be a lot of like
True. Help
Rudy
opportunity.
coming back to help, blocking some shots, stuff
Absolutely.
like that.
That's a good pick.
It's going to just give them that giant realm of opportunity. And all the analytic nerds are going to say, like, wow, look at what he's able to do on the defensive end.
It's going to be Scotty, though.
Yeah. We'll see. Let's go to Most Improved Player of the Year. I'll start this one off. We saw a Kings pick earlier. Now let's see a Denver Nugget. MPJ.
Wait, dude.
Yeah, MPJ time. Let me tell you why.
Is he going to be healthy this year, bro?
He's going to be healthy. And not only that, he might average 20 points per game.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, his jump shot looks so clean. It looks completely different than last year, where it looked like every time he landed from a shot, he was coming down in pain. Like his back was like, why are you doing this to me? So it's good to know the surgery did work. The procedure was a success. And MPJ, the reason why I have him up there is if the Nuggets really consider themselves in the title hunt, they need someone else outside of Jokic to step up. Jamal Murray's there. I like this kind of sleeper pick, though, of MPJ, where he's really going to step up in the scoring load. He's going to be the shooter that everyone thought he would be coming into the league. He's going to win Most Improved Player of the Year.
I mean, it's not a terrible take.
Thank you.
My only concern is just he's coming from an injury.
Yep.
Which, I mean, like you said, you think he feels better, but it's always hard to come back from an injury regardless. You know, you got to get into the rhythm of the season, stuff like that. But I don't necessarily hate it. I think it's going to be a pretty big year for him in Denver.
Yeah, thank you,
Do
Christian.
you have a pick?
I do have a pick. I didn't know if you were going to talk.
I got nothing on that.
Cool. My Most Improved Player pick is Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I
on,
think
Detroit.
I think Cade Cunningham is going to have a pretty big year this year. He's probably going to come into the season a little pissed off that he didn't win Rookie of the Year. He's the man right now in Detroit. And, you know, he has some shooters around him. He also has guys like Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey, who are young, athletic guys, maybe some lob threats. And I just really like what Detroit has in the making over there. They got, you know, some solid pieces. I don't think their team's necessarily going to be like good or anything, but I think Cade Cunningham is going to have a big year this year.
All right. I like that pick.
I do too. And honestly, if you would have said that last year, let's say it was year 2 for him last year, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. He's already a really good player. But after John Morant won Most Improved Player, turns out
Right.
you don't have to go from being a decent player to John Morant went from being a really good player to
He went
a
from
great
Rookie
player.
of the Year to Most Improved.
Yes. And that's where you're like, how does that work? But now, because that happens, Cade Cunningham winning that award makes total sense. I love that pick.
Yeah, I got a good one. All right. The man known as Kermit Wiltz. Do you guys know who that is?
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards. Kermit Wiltz from the movie Hustle. You didn't get that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I haven't seen it.
Scott's not a.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I didn't see it.
Dude,
no.
it's a great film.
No, I don't know how to watch movies. I don't know how to read. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Anthony Edwards, he's primed for a big breakout year. He's been rookie year average 19, second year last year average 21. I think he's due for a massive jump. And I just have that feeling.
What do you see that jump looking like?
28 points per game.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
That's a huge jump, but I think Ant is that guy. He's that guy. He's that guy. You your face. Dude, he's so good. He's got the personality. He's got like the flash, the swag, and he's got the game. You watch him. He passes the eye test, and that's kind of just the gut. A lot of these are just gut feeling things. I'm like, Anthony Edwards, I'm going to look back 8 months from now and look like a genius. I already know it. Anthony Edwards, Most Improved Player.
I like how you say this about all your takes.
All my takes, because I'm always right. I'm always right. Anthony Edwards, boom, lock it in. And you keep pushing up your glasses with your mic.
I can't help it.
You're going to hear like a...
Yeah, people are gonna hear it, Rob. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't see this on YouTube, they're like, "What is he doing?" and for a visual,
You probably can't hear it, but
you can't. But for a visual, for Spotify listeners,
when you're staring at the wall.
because I know you guys only look at walls when you listen to our podcast. But my glasses just sag on my face, so I just have been using the microphone to push them up.
What do you think people do when they listen?
There's that I kind of just
There are
described
like
it.
30 people that listen every episode.
To our 30 listeners, this is what I imagine. They sit on their couch. I don't even know if they own furniture. They sit on their floor, they look up at their ceiling, and they just listen to our voices.
Why do you think our listeners are just poverty?
No, not even that. I just don't assume they have furniture.
Wow. I imagine them like in the car or doing yoga.
Oh, that's
or
nice.
on a walk. So doing something active.
This is a
I
different
could
three.
I could picture them like cleaning their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, their
It's-
floors since they don't have furniture.
This is a good different three. We picked most improved, whatever.
I love
It's also our three opinions on what the listeners end up
Yeah.
doing.
Beautiful stuff. All right.
Yeah. Well, that is a good way to transition.
You got to
from
show the camera what you keep peeking down at.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
Monday night,
It's
guys.
Monday Night Football. I'm from Denver. I'm watching the Broncos versus the LAC Chargers right now. Broncos lead 3-0.
LAC?
The LAC Chargers.
I don't think I've
the
ever
Los
seen-
Angeles Chargers.
I've never seen Scott multitask so well. This is incredible.
No, usually it's a disaster. I wouldn't even be able to pay attention. But I've been
Basketball and football.
football.
You can do
yeah.
it.
And the Avs are actually playing hockey against the Minnesota Wild right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're good.
that's
You're good.
what we call a three-fer. For our fellas, they love three-fers.
Yeah.
Body wash, shampoo, hair conditioner.
Yep.
Three-fer. Now let's talk about someone who's
you.
going for a three-fer. MVP talks.
Wow.
Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
He's not who I picked to win the MVP, but he is competing.
Really? You don't think he's going to do it? Voter fatigue?
Voter fatigue more
That's
than
why?
anything else. Yeah, no. He'll probably just ball out this year, voter fatigue. But let's talk about the MVP.
Okay.
And guys, there is a thick field for who might win the MVP. Thick was a
So thick with like 4 C's.
This is a thick field for MVP, guys.
this is a thick field for MVP. That was the worst word.
That was awful adjective choice.
We have a juicy field
Better.
for MVP.
Kind of.
A plump field.
This thing is gushing.
We have just a rumptious field for MVP. And I honestly, when we were talking about who we think will win MVP, I don't know. And so Trev, we'll start
Trevor
with you.
knows
Trevor
everything.
knows.
Guys,
What does your crystal ball say?
my crystal ball is telling me this, that the man from Slovenia, Luka Doncic, with the Dallas Mavericks, is going to win MVP. Do you need me to explain?
Yeah.
yeah, please.
It's Luka magic. It's Luka time. It's a gut feeling. And Luka Doncic is that guy, and he's going to take another jump, and it's his time. It's priming, like seeing what he did in the playoffs.
Yep.
And just dominating the number 1 seed in that game 7. That was crazy. And then, to go on and play the ultimate, the team that ended up winning the championship. Like Luka Doncic is getting the taste of success. And I think this year he's just going to grab it by the throat and take it. This is Luka's year.
This is such an unhinged episode right
is
now.
wild.
It's awesome. But I actually love the Luka pick. My biggest concern is health and games played because he missed time last year. What does that look like?
Do you have that in front of you? How many games he played?
I'll get it up.
I'll look while you talk.
You look while I talk. I don't think seeding will matter too much if he's a top 6 seed based on stats, just based on Jokic winning it last year. But there's a chance the Mavs don't even get a top 6 seed this year. I'm just not convinced on Dallas as a team. Their run to the Western Conference Finals was awesome last year. Luka, of all people, can get them back into a top 6 spot, but I'm just not sold. Christian?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I feel like the Mavericks lack so much depth and good players that it's hard to kind of elevate. Like Luka has to do more and more to like get the Mavericks team to be playing good basketball to where he's in that contention. And I don't think he's out of the conversation. And I think he very well could win MVP. My concern is just like his team is going to hold him back because they're just not going to be as good.
I think he's going to have like that Russell Westbrook year where his stat line looks so crazy that voters are just like, what the heck? We have to give it to Luka, even regardless of them being possibly like the 6th seed. But average MVP, like games played, has been 62 games.
Okay.
He hasn't played less than 65, I don't think, in his career.
Perfect.
61 is what he played his second year. But so I think he's going to play the games. I think he's going to have that stat line. It'll kind of depend on the success of the team possibly, but even with that, I think he could get it.
Yeah.
I think this is the year that Luka's like, we hand him the flowers. Yeah.
Christian?
I'm going back to one of my predictions. I predicted him for Defensive Player of the Year, but I also think Giannis Antetokounmpo could very well win MVP this year. Like I said earlier, I think he's just going to have a monster year since the Bucks had a down year last year, and I think he's just going to come back hungry, and he's just going to show that he is the best player in the world.
Yeah, let the record show I agree with the Giannis pick, but because you picked Giannis, do you guys mind if I do a sleeper pick?
Pick a sleeper pick.
Pick a sleeper. Actually, you guys aren't going to like it, and I'm sorry that I'm saying it. But he's trying to become the all-time leading scorer. He is going to play harder than he's played the last 3 years. He had voter fatigue for a while. That fatigue is gone. I'm going with LeBron James to win MVP.
That's a good pick. I wasn't expecting that, honestly. But yeah, LeBron, he's going to try to beat the scoring title, and then also he's going to try to pass Magic in assists this year. So it would be a big year if he could pass Kareem and pass Magic.
Yeah, and the storyline behind that, I mean, just think what the voters will do. Oh, listen to these accolades. He's now the greatest in this. He's the greatest in that. He averaged 30 points per game and 8 assists per game, something like that, I think. And if LA's anywhere near top 6 seed, I want to be shocked if you won MVP that way.
I hate to say it. Like, that would suck. But yeah, like that's a possibility, I guess. If they're winning games and he's putting up stupid like a stat line, even if it's not as good as possibly, let's just use Luka or Giannis, because it's like, oh wow, this dude just got this accolade and this, record, the scoring record. Like, it's gonna be hard to. I mean, all the beat writers and all the voters love the stories. They do love the stories.
Well, and he's like 37. So
this is the last chance.
If he's putting up those numbers, it's like you got to respect what he's doing.
It's like the Tom Brady effect.
Yeah. And one name that we didn't say, Joel Embiid. He's been the runner-up the last 2 years. Do we see Embiid regressing at all, or is it more so the competition, the field around him, just a little too strong once again for Embiid?
I honestly, and this is a hot take, but I think James Harden is going to be the best player on that team this year.
Wow.
I just think James Harden has been kind of pushed to the side, and it's like gotten to a point where it's like James Harden is that guy, and he still is capable of that. We've seen the flashes, and we know that he can do that. But I think James Harden is best when he's that guy. He's the guy, and they're going to find a way. I think that James Harden is going to be the number one option on that team for sure, which makes Joel
no longer an MVP
candidate. He's not going to regress. He's still going to be great. But
for everyone listening, Trevor has James Harden on his fantasy basketball team. Just the FYI. Just the FYI.
I didn't want to say it. I want to give you if you were going to say it, so be it. Which, it's not a bad take. But when you add that extra layer, that layer of Trev having him on his team, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, what the heck, man? I believe in I picked him for a reason. That has no effect. I picked him because I believe that about him.
Yeah, okay, man. I'm happy for you. But I to answer Scott's question, I don't think Joel Embiid's going to regress, but I don't think his stats are going to be as good as they were last year. I think he's going to be dominant. He's going to be that guy. But I do agree with Trevor in a sense of I think James Harden's going to have better stats this year. But he also didn't even mention Tyrese Maxey, who is a guy that I think could potentially even win Most Improved.
Most Improved. He's definitely a candidate.
So, now that you have Maxey kind of running and gunning and, doing what he does, that could kind of potentially take some shots, I guess, away from Joel Embiid. Not a whole lot, but yeah, I just don't think Embiid is going to be MVP.
Yeah, and that Philly team is going to be very, very good this year. Now that Harden has probably really been able to buy into that Philly team and culture, it feels like the sky's the limit, which can either help or hurt an MVP candidate we've seen in the past. Guy on the number one team who's putting up great numbers, that can win you an MVP, but it can also hurt if it's like, oh yeah, well you also have James Harden who's averaging 30 points per game. I'm making up a number, but that is one thing. Well, we've talked about different players. We've talked about a lot of different teams throughout this offseason. But do you guys have anything that fans should look out for? A hot take, if you will. It doesn't even have to be a hot take, but just something that maybe a casual fan or diehard fans need to be aware of as we go into this NBA season.
I feel like there's like so many different hot takes that I can just spit out right now. And I don't know which one to choose. So I'm just going to say the first one that comes to my mind. But the New Orleans Pelicans,
Yep.
top 3 team in the
Yep.
West.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a hot take, but
That's a hot take. No one's talking about that. We talked about that on our Pelicans show. I like that one. Here's one that this is a big market team, but we're talking about hot takes here.
Yeah.
And this is a hot take. The Brooklyn Nets are going to be the 2023 NBA champions.
wow. That's good.
This is the season. This is when it all comes together.
Yeah.
Who are they
And
beating?
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I don't
The
think
Los Angeles Clippers.
I do, and I was gonna say I don't know if we want to talk about this, but comeback player. I think that Kawhi Leonard is gonna come back into form and be that guy again. All NBA first team as well.
Kinda
That's
hope
another
so.
prediction.
I miss Kawhi.
Yeah, I love him.
I missed his antics.
He's good for the NBA.
Yeah, he is. He's an incredible player. I like the Brooklyn take, especially because of how big of a dumpster fire it was last year in Brooklyn.
There
This
seems to be some
shift.
some shift in the locker room, and even just the vibe around the team. Like Ben Simmons seems to be more confident too, and he's saying like, "I'm right. I cannot wait to play in Philly." Like that kind of stuff was not. That
wasn't there last year.
Total shift in him. Total shift. Even with the summer was awful, just with the trade stuff. But shifting Kyrie and KD just being so locked into. All right, we're doing it this year. I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect in Brooklyn. I expect a better season. I don't know if I can go all the way as championship because I actually already made my championship prediction in previous episodes. And so that's one element, but I do think that they're going to be much improved this year. My take. I kind of mentioned already, the Dallas Mavericks, I think, are going to regress this season. I think they're going to miss Brunson. Luka's going to be incredible this year, but I don't like their starting 5. Christian Wood, who everyone in the world seems high on, is not even projected to start right now. And so those are the kind of things that are concerning. I love Spencer Dinwiddie, but is he going to be the number 2 scoring option? And so I don't think Dallas is definitely not making the Western Conference Finals. I wouldn't even be surprised if they're a play-in team at the end of this season.
I'm kind of glad you said that because that was one of the hot takes that I had in my head, but I figured someone else would say it.
Sure.
But
I disagree with that. I just want to touch on that. They got Boban, so
Oh, good point.
Shoot. You're so right.
actually I don't know if they have Boban. I just know
I don't think
Boban lives in Texas. But
I don't think he's on. I think he's on the Rockets now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so you got to stay in Texas.
But they have Frank Ntilikina, so
Oh, okay. That actually makes
I just want to throw out another hot take, and I don't know if you guys have. any
we're
more.
full of hot takes tonight, guys.
Yeah, this is a loose
This is our
episode.
prediction episode.
Yeah. To kind of go on the regression side, I have another team that I think is going to regress, and it's the Memphis Grizzlies. I think last year they were just too hot, but I think kind of like
What does regress look like? Drop from the 2 seed because that's obviously so good. Like drop a couple seeds down, or are you talking about like playing team?
I think they're like 5th or 6th, which is like borderline could be playing team by a couple games in the West, but like to drop from the 2nd seed to the 6th seed, I feel like is.
Let me look at the standings because I feel like that's not that significant considering like the win-loss totals from last year.
Yeah, but going into this year, the teams are different. The West is a lot stronger than it was last year.
That's a 7-game difference from 2nd to 5th. So I guess it's a
What's the difference between like let's say the 7th and the 5th?
7th and the 5th. That's going to be, let me do the math, guys. It's going to be a 3-game difference.
Yeah, so then if they're 5th or 6th, they're borderline a play-in team.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I disagree for the record.
I don't think they'll be as good. I don't know if they'll be low as 6th, which I know you're just saying could be. Jaren Jackson Jr., though, that is going to be a piece without him because he finally came into form. He's finally playing healthy basketball, and we saw how good they were just as a team. And it wasn't because of him, right? They had so many different pieces. But when you miss one piece, you can start to feel a little bit more pressure. Ja Morant's incredible. He's a great player, but I think we've said it 100 times on the show, but it's the teams around them are just so much better. I don't know with all these healthy teams if Memphis will be able to be at the top like they were last year. Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, guys, it's that time. It was a loose, and it was a good episode.
We went all over the place. I hope it was a good episode. It feels like we talked about so many different players.
So many different players, some different hot takes. But it was kind of nice just to get back. It's been a couple weeks since we've done a recording, really. And,
True.
You guys look good. You guys look ready for the NBA season.
Scott,
I'm so
thank you.
ready.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
You look good too.
Well, thank you. I'm wearing my red hat.
It's nice.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess with that, for the very good-looking Trevor Mickelin and the very handsome Christian Dennis.
What's better?
Wow. I'm the beautiful Scott Ayers.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, we say so long for now, and we will see you next week.
I took a walk to Poland. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're here, why don't you give us a like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at Small Ball Podcasts.